Legend has it that somewhere out there under the American street lamps, there is one last crucially awesome night that will be the transforming climax of the underdog's high school career. There is one last opportunity to get wasted in just the right way with just the right people that will make it so that high school wasn't hell. Many movies are built on this legend. Am I talking about Can't Hardly Wait? Am I talking about Dazed and Confused? Well, all right. I'm talking about Booksmart, the 2019 drama comedy of the last night of high school, directed by Olivia Wilde. I didn't know that Olivia Wilde had gone into directing. I'd seen some of her work as an actress. An impressive piece of film, this thing. Very interesting, worth a watch. I'm now going to savage it. Booksmart subverts its expectations as a high school drama very cleverly with its two heroines. Molly and Amy are platonic life mates who are also way too uptight with their overachieving valedictorian feminist crusader obsessions. They've spent their young lives with their noses against the academic grindstone and looking down on their peers who had fun and sex. Molly calls one of their female classmates AAA because she allegedly gave roadside assistance to 3 senior boys last year. If you're a fan of the channel, and why wouldn't you be, then you know where we're going with this. On this channel I discuss the sexual subtexts and attitudes presented in our popular media. How is our sexual culture formed? Well, it's formed with a barrage of propaganda that's designed to make you feel bad and anxious about your sex life. Is Booksmart one of those films, or is it one of the few exceptions? Let's take a look. But we're starting with how one of our heroes uses a cruel nickname for one of her classmates because that classmate had sex. So, not looking good. Amy is definitely a virgin. I suspect that Molly is too. And Molly is especially bossy and condescending to everyone, which is why she is shattered and horrified to learn that a lot of her peers are also going to do big things after high school. Ivy League schools, even a job at Google. AAA is going to be at Yale with her. They beat her at having fun, and they still have bright futures. So Molly tells Amy that they are going to the party tonight and prove to their classmates that they are fun. Also, Amy will have a chance to have sex with Ryan, a female classmate to whom she is attracted. Amy is a lesbian. Hopefully Ryan will be delighted when she finds out about this. Before the party, Molly and Amy have a conversation about Amy's masturbatory habits with her stuffed panda, Ling Ling. This is intensely embarrassing for Amy, mostly because bossy Molly keeps pushing the subject. Then the movie doubles down on sex as embarrassing when the girls need to manufacture an excuse for Amy's parents about why they are going out. Amy is already uncomfortable with the fact that her parents insist on believing that she and Molly are lovers, and she asks Molly not to pretend that she and Amy are going out on a date as a cover for attending this party. But Molly does exactly that. This is the negative meme, dangerous sex. I've discovered 12 negative memes that are repeated over and over again in popular media. Dangerous sex is one of the most popular ones, most common ones, where sex is presented as embarrassing, gross, off-putting, dangerous, even physically dangerous, lethal, leading to injury, death. Not usually in comedies like this one. But danger is sex. What have we seen of sexuality here? That it's embarrassing. And by the way, no one's had any sex except with a stuffed animal. And that's only in the backstory. They don't know where the cool party is, so they call a classmate named Jared, who is also a Lyft driver. Jared takes them to his party instead, which is well-staffed but pathetically empty. Let's talk about Jared. Jared is a flashy, rich kid who is desperate to be liked. He is permanently glued to Gigi, a manic pixie dream girl who functions more or less as the Greek chorus. Although the two of them spend a lot of time together, it seems to be implied that they live with or near each other. They are not, repeat not, definitely not in a romantic or sexual relationship. They are bonded pair that seems to have gone through high school as a pair, not in a romantic or sexual relationship. Seem to have compatible sexual orientations. Maybe the character of Gigi is fey and lovely and mad and comes in with wisdom and hallucinogens and stuff, but has so little sexuality that I can't even remember learning what her orientation is. Doesn't seem to be in a relationship with anyone. And the most important relationship in her life with Jared, absolutely non-sexual. Don't forget that. But this creates an opportunity for Jared to be interested in Molly. When Molly tells him not to try so hard to be liked, he says, "But you try hard. I mean, you try hard about everything. That's what I like about you." He immediately backtracks, but it's too late. She turns and almost runs out of the room. She reacts to any display of sexual or romantic interest with revulsion. And sure, the only interest she's gotten is from Jared, who's kind of weird and off-putting and trying too hard. But the movie stages it that way. That's the only interest she gets. This is one of the negative memes. I've identified 12 negative memes that come back at us again and again and again about how sex is bad. This is called dangerous sex. Sex is often presented as being, at the very least, off-putting, uncomfortable, weird. That Jared expresses the slightest interest in her is immediately off-putting and weird. Also under the dangerous sex meme is when sex is actually lethal. You know, people are lured to their doom by flirtation and so on. But in this case, it's just about being uncomfortable. Conversely, sex is presented as dangerous and danger is presented as sexy under this meme. So Jared didn't work out, and they summon another lift. The girls are surprised to discover that this one is driven by Principal Brown from their high school. He's doing a secret side gig in a really ridiculous gag. Okay, he's trying to earn money on the side. Sure, but you want it to be secret? You're driving a lift in the same town where you're a high school principal. You are known here. And by the way, who's calling for lifts? Teenagers who don't own their own cars. Anyway, Principal Brown is driving the lift. And while they are in this lift, Molly pushes Amy into watching porn. After all, if Amy is going to have lesbian sex with Ryan tonight, she needs to do some studying. Amy has never watched porn in her life because she believes all of those women are European trafficking victims. This is the negative meme, serious people don't sex. People we're supposed to admire and support and want to succeed. Our heroes don't sex, especially people with responsibilities and ambitions don't sex. And Amy, the overachieving, 4.0 GPA girl who, by the way, is going to Africa for a year before she goes to college to do humanitarian aid work, never watches porn. You know why? Because European trafficking. Well, Molly batters her into it with the dogma. I thought that you were a sex-positive feminist, which Molly absolutely is not. Recall the AAA nickname she employs so cruelly. And the video rolls on Molly's phone. Of course, this results in a lot of sex noises squelching out of the car's speakers, and they are embarrassed in front of Principal Brown. He mistook the noises for the music of Cardi B, but still, sex is embarrassing, dangerous sex. They wind up at a second wrong party, and Gigi dosed them with an hallucinogen. Under its effects, they imagine themselves as sexy Barbie dolls. It's a nightmare for Molly, but Amy likes having big breasts and long Mattel legs. Danger is sex. It's a weird hallucinatory experience. It's frightening for them. And when Amy looks at her Mattel body and says, "This is pretty nice, actually," Molly is furious with her for betraying their dogma. In the aftermath of their drug trip, Molly very reluctantly admits to being sexually attracted to Nick, the handsome jock who is hosting the party they are trying to arrive at. Now Amy, who was ready to call it a night, really commits to finding this party so that Molly can... Well, it's not actually specified. Can what? Let's go to this party. You deserve this. Deserve what? To have sex with Nick? Is that what you're saying? But no one says that. Molly doesn't say, "I want to go to this party and have Nick perform oral sex on me." No, okay? Because we're pushing sex off stage as much as we can. We're not actually going to refer to it. We're going to imply it. Anyway, hopefully Nick will be delighted when he finds out about these plans. They glean from social media posts that the party ordered 15 pizzas, so they comedically carjack the pizza delivery driver in order to intimidate him into giving them the address to which he delivered this unusually large order. The pizza delivery driver lectures them about how dangerous it is to get into a car with a strange man, asking, "Did the possibility of sexual assault ever enter your minds? Have they considered how, if he had a gun," he shows it to them, "he could have them hogtied in a cabin in a remote Nevadan location within an hour?" But he gives them the address. Molly asks if he might drive them there, but he answers with, "Get the fuck out of my car!" Here's a question. What the hell do they think they're doing? Molly has treated Nick only with open contempt for several years, their entire high school career, apparently. Now she expects that he's going to jump into her arms and declare his everlasting love, or maybe they'll get drunk and bang in the garden shed and she'll have that memory of losing her virginity to treasure. I don't really understand what they think is about to happen. Amy has been attending the same high school as Ryan for, we suppose, many months. But Amy doesn't even know if Ryan is sexually interested in women. And this is everything. Is this movie telling us that Ryan has never been seen to be on a date with anyone? She's never been in a relationship with anyone? She's never expressed her sexual desire for Jake Gyllenhaal nor Maggie? Ryan has kept her sexual orientation top secret from the entire school? Nobody knows? Ryan has no sexuality because that makes it okay for Amy to desire her. Serious people don't sex. So, Amy and Molly arrive at the party. The atmosphere is convivial, leaning into bacchanalian. Nick and Ryan are both intoxicated and are very friendly to the girls. At Ryan's urging, Amy strips to her underwear and jumps into the swimming pool, swimming underwater among the thrashing and youthful bodies. Until Amy finds Ryan making out with Nick in the pool. Disaster. Their targets are more interested in one another than they are in our heroines. Also, it seems like Ryan's sexuality isn't that secret after all. She's making out with Nick in the middle of a crowded party in full view of however many people. How is it that Amy had no idea what her orientation was? Because Ryan couldn't have sexuality in order to be desired. She has to be pure. Very upset and disappointed, Amy goes to Molly and begs her to leave the party with her, although she does not tell her why. Molly won't leave. She's expecting Nick to return and fall in love with her rudeness, I guess. They wind up in a public screaming match about how Molly is too bossy and Amy is a bad friend and liar. Why does Amy lose all interest in Ryan like this? Done. Finished. Why? Because Ryan expressed her sexuality with Nick. Just because Ryan had an encounter with Nick does not mean that she isn't sexually interested in Amy. Or can't be. But the very instant that Amy sees Ryan demonstrating her sexuality, Amy flees the pool and the party, badly shaken and in a lot of emotional pain. Sex is bad. To desire Ryan, the virgin who has no sex, is fine. Once Ryan demonstrates that she is a person who does in fact have sexual encounters, she has no value. She's out. She's gone. And spoiler alert, as soon as Molly learns that Nick kissed Ryan, Molly will instantly give up all interest in Nick. And here's another point. Neither Amy nor Molly have any reason at all to expect their targets to be interested in them. Amy is barely an acquaintance of Ryan's, and Molly has been nothing but rude to Nick for years. But now, very, very upset, Amy flees to a bathroom, and in the bathroom is Hope, a classmate who has never been anything but snarky and contemptuous with Amy. That's all we've ever seen from Hope in her brief appearance earlier in the film. Hope shows no compassion for Amy's pain. When Hope sees Amy come into the bathroom, struggling with tears, slamming the door behind her, Hope doesn't say, excuse me, just on my way out, pardon me. No. What Hope does is she says, "How lovely." An opportunity to be vicious and cutting. So they wind up telling each other off. Hope doesn't like Amy because Amy is a meek person. She's too subservient in her relationship with Molly, which is probably true, but it's also none of Hope's damn business. They tell each other off, and then they jump into each other's arms. They fall to the floor together. There hasn't been a single hint that Hope is sexually interested in women, and certainly not a hint that Hope likes Amy, but bingo, they fall to the floor together. Amy, in her inexperience, accidentally puts her finger in Hope's rectum. Then, in a very, very bad trope that is unworthy of a movie that's this interesting, the intoxicated Amy pukes on her sex partner. Sex is puke. Dangerous sex. Sex is presented as embarrassing, humiliating, unsatisfying. Nobody orgasms here. Amy's entire sex life, including Ling Ling, has been humiliation, misunderstandings, and vomit. The encounter ends with Hope closing the shower curtain behind her and saying, "Just fucking go!" The cops raid the party. Amy gets arrested. AAA, the girl who has had sex, gives Molly a ride home. AAA explains on the way that yes, she has performed oral sex on 3 different guys, and she resents the nickname, especially when the girls use it. Somehow it surprises her that girls are cruel. Molly agrees that people should call AAA Annabelle instead, because that's her name. Molly acknowledges that she should not heap scorn on Annabelle for how Annabelle chooses to organize her sex life among her consenting contemporaries and colleagues. The next morning, Molly goes to visit Amy in jail. They apologize to one another, and the police let Amy go because, luckily, on the way into the station, Molly saw a police sketch of the pizza delivery man they carjacked last night. Above the words, "Have you seen this man? Valley Strangler. Information wanted." "We have seen this man," Molly says. In exchange for that information, the police let Amy out. The very man who warned the reckless girls about the danger of sexual assault is a sex criminal and serial killer. And meeting him is the luckiest thing that happened to them all night. Because that's A, how they got to the party, and B, they didn't get murdered. This isn't what we're going to call sex positivity, folks. They rush off to graduation. They barely make it in time. Molly lays a big kiss on Jared, the desperate to be liked kid, on her way to the valedictorian's podium. This is played as victorious and glorious, a big wet kiss on the stage in front of the whole school. Molly jettisons her prepared speech to apologize to her classmates for being unpleasantly arrogant for so long. We never hear about Jared again. He's gone. He ceases to exist. Thanos got him in the snap. He's out. Molly gets one moment of sexuality and then her sex life shuts off, vanishes, is never referenced again. We never see Jared again. We never hear about Jared again. The movie moves toward its close with a joke where Amy is packing for college and her parents sentimentally rub their faces on her sex toy panda. Then Hope turns up at the door to return Amy's panties. Amy is going to do charity work in Botswana before college. Hope is going backpacking for a year in no place in particular. Hope hands Amy a folded piece of paper, which might be her contact info. Amy says that if Hope should find herself in the remote African village where Amy will be doing humanitarian aid, she should visit. Hope leaves. The audience is supposed to find this reassuring and hopeful regarding Amy's future sex life. How? Hey, here are the clothes you left behind because I was yelling at you to get out after you inadvertently poked your finger into my rectum and then barfed on me. Here's my email or something. I'll drop by if I happen to wander thousands of miles across an ocean to rural Africa. See ya. And we're supposed to take that as foretelling a future together? They don't embrace, they don't kiss. Hope doesn't say, "What are you doing tonight? Because I've got a hot tub at my place." No, it's, "Here are your panties back. This might be my email address. Ciao." Also an important point, I don't want them to have a future together. Hope has never been anything but awful to Amy right up to the moment Amy kissed her. Then, in a Mobius strip of drunk and distraught, they had very bad sex on the bathroom floor, the climax of which was an unexpected regurgitation. How does this look like a formula for success? I would like it a lot better if it were Ryan showing up with a bag of clothes saying, "I think you left these at the party. I made out with Nick. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I've got a hot tub at my place. What are you doing tonight?" Because Ryan has always been warm, friendly, and engaging with Amy, even though they are merely acquaintances, and Hope is a bitch. Let's go to the final scene. Molly is dropping Amy off at the airport to go to Africa. The girls part by saying, "I love you," to one another, and as Amy heads into the airport, pulling her little suitcase behind her, the tears in her eyes illuminated by a soft and glowing sun, Unchained Melody swells on the soundtrack, which is a very well-known song about sexual longing. Sexual longing. "Oh, my darling, I've hungered for your touch alone." We get long, slow, glamour shot close-ups of both girls, tears in their eyes, looking back at each other. Then, as Molly is pulling away, Amy jumps out in front of the car and says, "I can be the last one on the plane. Let's go get pancakes." Which I don't like, by the way. You've just given us this scene of the two of them parting in a very emotional moment, and then you instantly undercut it with Amy jumping in front of the car, except they're only going for pancakes. They're going to be right back here in 90 minutes. Parting again, I guess? So you're undercutting the emotional impact of this scene, and I think it's a bad choice. That's me. What do I know? I've never made a film. But I have made a lot of points, and the last point I want to make is that this is the negative meme. Friends are your family, and family doesn't sex. This is a meme we see over and over and over again, most commonly in ensemble cast sitcoms and dramas. The most important relationships in your life are with your intentional family, the people you choose to spend time with, your permanent friends. Those are the most important and enduring relationships in your life, but they are also without sex, or at least should be. Bringing sex into that equation is always a disaster. And in this film, Molly and Amy are not lovers. It embarrasses Amy that her parents think they are. They have incompatible sexual orientations, these two characters. And yet this ridiculous ending is shot like the schmaltziest possible Hallmark movie, saying the most important relationship in their life is with one another. They're absolutely sexless, unerotic relationship. That's what we're supposed to be behind the friendship of these two girls, that they endure together in this bond, which has no sex in it. Their sex lives are all but non-existent. Molly's sex life is the next thing to non-existent. Amy's sex life is full of nothing but misunderstandings and her parents rubbing their faces on her fuzzy dildo and puke. But they have each other. That's the most important thing, the relationship that has no sex. Sex is bad and dumb and dangerous, and you should feel terrible about it. In the end, we see that Booksmart is profoundly anti-sex. So thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, show this to your friends. That's a big help to this project and this channel. Come back next week for more episodes looking at different films and television series. I'm Brian Downs. Thanks for the time.